This is Deborah Clay, fiction author and podcaster, and this is Castaway Books. I have been asking authors to tell me about the books that have influenced their life and inspired their writing. Now it is time to shine the light on book bloggers, those amazing writers who tirelessly support and cheer on authors with their book reviews. This week's guest is Sharon Rimmelzwaan. I am delighted to welcome Sharon Rimmelzwaan to Castaway Books on my island today, because I follow Sharon's blog, Sharon Beyond the Books, and Sharon kindly reviewed one or two of my books in the past. So thank you, Sharon, for all you do for authors, particularly indie authors. We're incredibly grateful to you.
I wouldn't do anything else. I love supporting indie authors, the smaller names that nobody ever hears of. Somebody's got to get your names out there.
Well, we appreciate it. But now it's time to put the spotlight on you and hear about the books that you've read and enjoyed throughout your life, but we find out a little bit more about you and what was going on in your life. So we start with your first book.
Yes, it was. My first book was The Shelley Schoolgirls. It was a series by Eleanor Brent Dyer. And I like that one. Go on.
And how old were you when you got into that series? What was going on in your life?
I was only young. It was, I probably was less. I was probably about 7 or 8, something like that. And I loved it. I love that series because it was set in Austria, and I just love reading about the girls that went to a boarding school. I thought that's special and different, but it also made me want to go to Austria as well. Never been yet, still not, but it gave me that, and I just lost myself in Austria. I loved it.
Well, you must have been a good reader to get through these series at such a young age. I looked up, there's loads of them. They've gone forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know yet whether I've actually read the full series, but I know I've read them as I've gone along, and I'm not sure whether I've read the full series, but I've read the majority of it, if not all. And yeah, I was reading when I was really young as well, so I was reading the newspaper too young.
Clever girl, very clever girl.
Yeah, I always love reading.
Did you want to go to a boarding school or just Austria?
Do you know, I think being the charters probably I wanted to be different. I thought it was so special. And obviously I just went to a normal primary school, and it was all like amazing to be in a country like Austria that sounds so beautiful. And yeah, I think I wanted to go to the boarding school, and I think I wanted them teachers and I wanted them characters to be my friends.
Yeah.
I just wanted to transport myself and be there, because I just live in a little town in the northwest.
It's wonderful how books can transport you, and to discover that as a child was a gift.
Yeah, definitely.
So onto your second book, which isn't a book, it's a magazine, and I love to see this here. So tell us about your next choice.
My next choice was actually not a book, it's Smash Hits. I was in love with that series, the magazines, when it was issued as a series. I did read a lot of books still, but Smash Hits was the first thing that came to my mind, because it was just all about the pop stars of the time and the little bands, and they had all the lyrics in of all the songs. And I mean, to the point where me and my best friend, we told the maths teacher we'd help him at dinner and break. And we did. We got in, we stayed in school, and we helped him by laminating the lyrics and photocopying the lyrics in the maths room. So yeah, that's what I spent my secondary school life doing.
I love that I love that magazine too. And we used to sit on the school bus when we were going to swimming classes and things, all singing. Me and my friends, we would be singing from Smash Hits. So
It
what was your
brilliant.
favourite band? What would you be singing?
Back in when I was younger, it was Bucks Fizz at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got a little older, it went to Paul Young and Duran Duran were okay. I loved them all. Bananarama, the ones that have all gone now. The
You're younger than me, and I'm surprised that Smash Hits was still around when you were at school,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
was at school probably about same. I was probably about 10 years before you, because I was listening to. We were singing along to. Let me see. At that time, it was Brian Ferry, T-Rex. Those were sort of things in the charts then.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to
That was
admit,
before me.
I was
Yeah,
a David.
early 80s, mine.
Yeah, I was 70s. I was a David Cassidy fan. I was in love
Yeah.
with David Cassidy.
Well, I was with Paul Young. It was a kid. I had posters all over my wall. I started putting them on my ceiling. They were everywhere.
Yeah.
I just loved. I don't know. I did nothing but listen to music and
Yeah.
sing. Can't
Do
sing. Can't sing
you,
for toffee, but I didn't care.
do you still love music?
Yeah, I still do.
And what do you listen to now?
Well, I like Robbie Williams. I like Take That. I like. I love. We go to concerts. We do a lot of musical concerts with the bands and stuff. Um, I'm quite a mix. I like a lot of stuff now, obviously as I've got older,
Mm.
because I do like some of the current stuff, but I do love the 80s still.
I
It
think
never
we
goes
all love
away,
the
does it?
music from our youth, don't we? Because that's when we have
Yeah,
the most time to indulge, and it brings back happy memories as well.
yeah, it does. It
Yeah.
does.
So on to your third book.
My third book was Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. That was just the beginning.
Mm. So
And that's because it is a child's book, I agree. But I was in my 20s when that came out, and I had already had one bad relationship, and that was sort of ending. It had ended. And yeah, I wasn't in a good place. I
mm,
wasn't really in a good place in myself. I was getting stronger mentally as maturing because I was only in my 20s. I'd had a lot of bad stuff happen to me, but when Harry Potter came out, I just got it and I read it and it swept me up in the magic
mm,
of, as we now know, Harry Potter world. I
yeah.
was I was addicted to the series, the full lot. I pre-ordered some of them when it came to. If anybody's not read Harry Potter, please don't kill me. When I got to the part where Dumbledore dies, it was only me that was reading it. Nobody else in the family had read it, and I was absolutely mortified. And I couldn't tell anybody what had happened. And I was a bit like, oh my God, oh, and Snape's not bad. Oh, and I couldn't tell anybody. And I was like, where do I go with this? I can't go anywhere. I can't go anywhere. But I think it gave me back a little bit of the magic I missed when I was in my like 17, 18, 19,
Mm,
20, because I grew up rather fast in them years
mm.
and my feet hit the ground running. So to have
Why
these
was,
books,
why was that? Did you leave school
because
early? No. Mm,
no. I stayed on. I stayed on at school because I got weren't GCSEs then. They were 16 plus or
mm,
CSE or O levels, and I did have English. I got my history. I got my English lit. I stayed on sixth form. Did
mm,
A level science and A level sociology. But I met when I was 17. I met somebody. It was a man. It's always male. I met a man and he was 8 years older than me. So I'm a 17-year-old. He's 8 years older than me. He was just getting divorced, and I fell for him,
mm,
as you do. And I ended up pregnant at 18. But being 18 and quite young, because my mum and dad kept me young, um, basically I still had to be in for 9:30 and all that sort of thing. And I was too scared to tell them, basically. So I sat my A-levels with constant morning sickness. Nobody knew I was pregnant. I realised that I caught in March. I went through all my A-levels. I told nobody. Got to September, and it must have been the end of August, and I went to the doctor's. So the doctor is, again, an old family friend. So he said, have you told your mum and dad? And I said, no, not yet. And he said, if you haven't been able to tell them when you come in next, I will come with you and we'll do it together. So he'd ordered my scans and everything. So when I went to my scan, I went on my own because the other person was too busy at work. Wasn't important. So I was the young kid basically going for a scan. And it turned out I was due in December. So I had no antenatal. I'd had no appointments or anything by then. But I'd had my scan. And I remember being in bed one morning and a letter has come through the post. And it was to Mrs. Sharon Swindles. That was my maiden name. So my mum had been for a smear, so she thought don't ask me why she opened it. And my mum opened it, and it was my antenatal appointments. So we'll get the scenario from there. My mum wasn't very pleased. Then she found out how far I were. So basically, from May, sitting A-levels, May, June, July, went to November being 8 months pregnant in my own house. So from then, obviously, I'm a young mother. I've got a waster for a boyfriend, proper waster. So I spent the next 2 years, 3 years, I think we split up when I was about 22, just scraping hand to mouth, just basically having somebody who was horrible in a lot of ways, and he ended up cheating on me. And I found out. So I obviously told him he could go. My daughter was 3 then. And he even tried coming back 2 weeks later after he hadn't been up to see her. And I said, oh, where have you been? He said, sorting my life out. I went, oh, okay. And then he said, can we have another go? Can I come back? I went, no, you can go. So from there, then, that's when I was a single mother. I might as well have been a single mother before. So all that reality from being 17 to 21 was like I hit the ground running.
You did.
Yeah, so I lost my youth.
You didn't have a teenage, did you? It was stolen from you.
No, that's it. So that's what I always thought as well. I didn't, because I've always told my girls that try to enjoy your teens, enjoy your life. So then when I met somebody else and we ended up getting married, and he adopted my eldest daughter and we had a little girl. And that's when Harry Potter came in just after that. And that's where, like I said, it took me right back. I got the magic. It felt like it was proper, pure escapism.
Which you absolutely deserved and needed. I love the way books can do that, to transport people and lift them. It's wonderful.
Yeah, me too. And I'm forever grateful even now. I mean, I've watched the films to the Harry Potter books, and I'm watching a film, and when I first saw them, I was like, to my husband, I was like, they've cut that. Oh God, no, but I still enjoy them. But they're never as good as the books. Yeah. Never.
No.
But yeah, that's why Harry Potter is that book of that decade.
Special.
As I use. Very special in the way that I felt when I read it. And it made me feel. I felt like I could just, I don't know, be young again, because it was a young adult book, really, or a child's book even. Yeah. So I must have felt like it was sort of regaining a bit of my youth, a little bit. But and still to this day, Harry Potter is one of my favourite books in that way.
That's wonderful. It's a lovely story. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you for listening.
On to your 4th book.
Yep, Caitlin by Kevin Lewis.
Now, I've not heard of that one.
Well, as it says, I read it a long time ago. And I only remember it's not about the actual story. it's just about, it made that much of an impression on me that we called our daughter Caitlin.
Oh. It must have made
With
an
an,
impression of you.
yeah. It was. I don't even know why. I think it is like I said. It was like because of all the stuff that happened. Again, another story with the man I married, and that book was it. I'll never forget it. It's really weird that that came straight to my mind for that period.
So what
I
period
mean,
of your life was that?
right, that was, I'd married, it was after I'd married the man that was my daughter's father. And he started off great. He was my knight in shining armor, you call it. He was the perfect. I never wanted to be a single parent. I've been brought up by parents that are a dual parent family, normal. And I didn't think it was, I don't know, I always felt I didn't want to be a single parent. And he sort of slotted in. And yeah, at that time he rescued me. And as the years went on, he adopted my eldest daughter. We had a little girl. We were married. We were married for 10 years all told, just short. But during that time, his mental health went downhill. And he did try to hang himself in my house.
Oh.
Yeah.
How?
A few suicide attempts. Mental health was shot to pieces. He asked me a few times just before we split up, if I would help him. I actually became a counsellor around this time as well. So after all that, I then started a fresh start. I had a fresh start again, if you want to call it that. It's like I've got separate decades in my life, separate times in my life. And Caitlin was just, I read that when I was in Holland on my first summer I went over to stay with what are now my in-laws. And that summer was just amazing. But it all, I don't know, it sort of separates. It's about a young girl, and I think it was the battle she had, the fight she had to have in her life. How it was, they made her, she had to fight to get anywhere. And I think that it just resonated with me because me and my kids were all victims of mental health. And in the future, I would find out we were victims of more than that. But that was like, I only found out anything in 2014. So in the future, I find out that we were victims of more. But at the time, we were victims of mental health, I thought. So yeah, I just see I see a fight. I see a young girl having a battle to get through her life, and I think, yeah, that for me.
Well, you've been incredibly strong to all the things you've coped with in your life. It's been one challenge after another by the sound of it.
Yeah, this is one thing. If I put it into writing, people would think I made it up. Really, I've even thought I've actually written some because you wouldn't believe. I couldn't believe people think it were fiction. Things that have happened to me from being 17 up to today, and now I'm 52. As it just doesn't stop.
Oh, well, I hope life gets better.
No.
Let's move on to the next book and see if it's a happier time.
Go on.
Well, listen, tell us about your next book, and let's hope that life is getting happier now.
Oh, it's Laura Lascaux and Fallible Justice.
Another one I've never heard of. And I couldn't, as I say, find it on Amazon. So you say it might be just taken down while it changes with publisher.
You could check Goodreads, it'll be on there probably.
Okay, good idea.
And you could go on my blog. There's a review there.
I will put the link to your blog on it.
Yeah, it's fantasy book. Absolutely. And the only fantasy I'd ever read before this would be, oh, of course, Harry Potter, but I never thought of it as fantasy. I just thought it was an adventure. But like Terry Pratchett, I'd read a couple of them, not many. I've enjoyed them, but nothing where it makes me think, oh, I need to read loads and loads and loads. Fallible Justice, I agreed to go on a blog tour for, it was Damp Pebbles. She's not running anymore, but I agreed to a blog tour for that. So I thought, okay, I can give it a go. It sounds okay. Well, I read it. Deborah, oh my goodness, I was infatuated. Really, I was like, whoa, this book is really good. It's amazing, this book. I loved it to the point where I went and bought 2 and 3 after that.
Wow. Well, I don't read fantasy because I want to, I just can't get into it. But now you've said that, you've made me very tempted to read it.
Try it. You should try it when it comes back up on sale. You should try it. It is. I enjoyed it. It's a bit of it's a mystery as well. It's like a mystery and a fantasy, like the dual genre. But I really enjoyed it. And now I buy lots of fantasy books.
Oh.
Buy special fantasy books as well. I buy special editions for them because they're just amazing. They're beautiful. But yeah, again, another period in my life that was in my 40s when, yeah, you wanted it to get brighter, didn't you? Yeah, I forgot about that.
Tell us as it is. Tell us as it is.
It is bright. It is a better period because I obviously, like I said, after I divorced, because I did divorce my ex, I couldn't cope. I was almost anorexic then. He was in the mental health unit in the hospital and everything. And I thought it was no good to the kids. And I just felt like he was one of the kids, looking after him with his tablets, make sure he's. So it got to the point where I just thought, I can't do this. So we split up. And then I'm online. I met a Dutch guy. And we started talking. And he was 10 years younger than me, by the way. So we started talking. And then he came over to England to see his friend who was in Leeds. And I'm only in Oldham. So they came down for a visit one day, and that were it. He came over in Easter, and I went back with him, with the kids, the first time I'd been abroad.
And now you've got three girls.
2 girls, and now I've got a trans boy.
Right.
My youngest is trans boy. He's just gone 15, but he's the one that's half Dutch as well. Yeah, so we got married, and that we're still married. We've been married since 2007. We've been together 20 years at the beginning of 24. Wow. So, yeah. But he's got health issues. He's had 2 discectomies on his spine, a fusion on his spine, and now he's got an implant as well. Oh. So that was running alongside when I had our son, as he is now. And he was ill when he was born. After he was born, he had a dairy intolerance. Believe me, there's nothing worse than a dairy intolerance in a newborn baby.
No. Oh, gosh.
So we had that to get through. Then his back started, and I was doing everything. Literally, he couldn't get downstairs. I had to phone an ambulance. We've had it, everything. Now we've moved into a house with a lift, and we've got a wet room and things like that. But again, that was heavy to deal with, because obviously every time I have a child, I end up hemorrhaging. Which I had a blood transfusion with my first one. I escaped the transfusion with my second, and with Alex, 6 weeks into it, so I was on the edge. I started hemorrhaging again, and I had to go to hospital, and I had to sit in A&E for 6 hours while they decided who were going to look after me, whether it was postnatal or gynecology. In the end, they gave me tablets and sent me home. But that was after 6 weeks of dealing with Alex as well, with screaming, being sick, eczema everywhere, being told by a doctor that he's a windy baby. And I said, no, I don't think so. I've had 2 others. So everything took its toll, of course. But Fallible Justice came along, and I remembered it. I still remember it. It just made me feel lighter. I loved it. And I found out since she's written even more books of the series. So I've got some more to buy. But she's changing publisher, so like you said, it's probably all out of stock at the moment. Till they reissue it, republish.
Well, I
But
should
yeah, that's
link.
my
The link to your blog. I'll make you do the show notes.
And in between Caitlin and in between Infallible Justice, on Facebook, I started speaking to people like as friends and stuff. And I had one woman who works for Joffrey Books, and she said to me, "Would you like to write a review for a book for me?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll put it on Amazon and post it." So I did that. And I did it for a while for her. And she kept passing my name around to other people, saying, "You'd love her reviews, they're brilliant." So more people got, and so I ended up getting my husband to make me a blog. And I've never looked back from that. So books are my escape. And they're definitely almost a full-time job alongside all the caring stuff I've got to do at home. And sometimes it takes its toll. And I have to I have to drop a few things from the blog sometimes and just send apologies to people because I get ill and I get worn down because I've got fibromyalgia and stuff like that. And everything takes its toll on me again. So, but I do love it. I love helping people. I love helping small authors.
You help everyone. You've got such big shoulders and wide arms because you've cared for everybody in your life. So much love to give.
Yeah, I'm always looking after people. And I am a trained counsellor as well. I did that too. In my worst period, I went into counselling training and I came out with the actual certificate. And then my life was that bad with the ex. I haven't worked in it, but I've had counselling myself a few times, but I've not gone back into it. But it's there. And sometimes I have to use it on myself and on my friends.
So you're a great, very good friend to have. I hope you get lots of love back and you have time for self-care as well as caring for everyone else.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, I don't get that much time back for myself, but my friend, I've got a couple of friends, good ones. One that I met through Facebook and blogging, and one that I've known for years. She helps me, and she helps me out in the house because I can't keep on top of it all the time. And my self-care is Harrogate in July.
And
for
that
the
is,
the Theakston's Crime Festival. I've been for the last 2 years, and I'm going next year. And this year I'm going to the Dark Side of Brighton. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Donna Morfitt. I don't know whether you know her. She does author interviews. You should get in touch with her.
I do know her.
Yeah, she's running it. She's my friend. She's who I met through blogging, and we are really, really good friends now. We go to Harrogate together. I went to Wes Markin's book launch in Knaresborough with her, and I'm going to trek myself down to Brighton.
Lovely.
At the end of this month for 3 days.
Excellent. I have one more question to ask you, and that is what you take with you on the island.
Well, this is something I had to think about this one because books would have been the obvious answer, but I went with an airbed.
Great idea.
Yeah, I've got fibromyalgia. I've got to think about myself.
That's good. I'm glad you are thinking about yourself.
There you go. I would if I could take an extra thing, take a book or two, but an airbed is the first thing.
Well, you can have all of those books that you mentioned, and you can, as they're series, you can have the whole series of each of them. That's generous for you.
That's brilliant. I don't need a boat or a plane to come by for a while with the series of Shallow School.
Excellent. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Sharon. It's so lovely to meet you here. And as I say, thank you for all that you do. I know you work so hard, all those books you read, and you don't get paid, but we're all so grateful to you. So thank you.
I know. Thank you for having me. Thank you for asking me here.
Take good
It's been amazing.
And now I should go off to my paddle in the waters of my desert island. The palm trees going behind me.
Yeah, go for a dip.
I will. Bye, Sharon.
Bye-bye.